Good Thursday morning, Larry Sprinkle and Chris Mulcahy together, and it's all about Debbie. This has been, what a crazy morning it's been. I mean, there's the radar right there, almost three-dimensional. That's not going to change very much. I mean, started very early this morning and will be around for a while.
And Florence is going to go down in history as one of the worst storms. But this one right here is very rememberable because of what Florence did as far as flash flood warnings. We're not seeing the same impacts here, but since 2018, I personally have not seen this many flash flood warnings across our area. And we're not done yet, man.
There's more rain definitely on the way. Started early this morning. We've got a great view, don't we?
Yeah, check this out. This is what it looked like early this morning, right as Debbie was rolling in. This is through our Dallas camera. Look at those dark and ominous clouds. So that's how it all started. And then once the rain started, it did not stop, Larry, and that's the same scenario. But one thing that really people might have underestimated is like, oh, tropical storm force winds. Well, it's causing problems, bringing down trees, and check out what it looks like right at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I kind of zoomed in here, took our Mr. Sparky Carolina camera network. This is the way every street looks in our area. That's Highway 29, right there in front of the Speedway. Several inches of water, gusty winds, not a good time to be out. Landfall was this morning, real early this morning near Bowles Bay, not too far from Charleston. As you can see, starting to move inland, has made its second landfall early this morning. By 2 o'clock this afternoon, still a tropical storm, and the path could take it pretty close to Charlotte, then takes a move and eventually heads all the way up over the mid-Atlantic states into New England by the end of the weekend. As far as another issue we're dealing with, some new alerts just issued by the National Weather Service. A wind advisory in effect till 3 o'clock this afternoon for much of the area, with some of those winds gusting well over tropical storm strength. So this is one thing that I think surprised even the National Weather Service. So what happens is when a hurricane or tropical storm makes landfall, the wind field spreads out a little bit. So I think that wind field really spread out a little bit further out, reaching our area. So that's why, Larry, I think you saw a 47-mile-per-hour gust around Charlotte? I mean, there have been some that much. And by the way, the center of circulation is still pretty close to Charleston, South Carolina. So, those winds reaching all the way into the Piedmont of North Carolina. So rain, heavy and steady, flooding right now, high wind gusts. Those are some of the major impacts we're seeing. We scan the skies. I mean, that radar, we are covered in rain unless you live in Boone. Everybody else has got rain. And for the Charlotte metro area, I mean, it's just one round of rain after another. It is not ending, and we kind of expand the view to show you that flow off the Gulf of Mexico. If you look at Charleston, the center of circulation, it's inland now, just north of there, but that flow is moisture pumped in like a fire hose coming off the Atlantic Ocean right into the Charlotte area, and it hasn't stopped all morning. Yeah, so it's really, if you're going to be on the eastern side, the northern part of those tiers, that notice where it's coming from. That is going to be, I think, the worst part of the rain that we see for the rest of today. Now, the good thing is going to be happening, and maybe I can go over to Weather Tutors to show you this real briefly. What's going to happen is you have this little dry air slot. So this one right here, as that starts to wrap in, that's going to limit some of the rainfall. So this is mainly going to be a morning into early afternoon. After that, it really turns to more of the I-40 corridor that'll see a little bit more additional rain. But then, Larry, you mentioned this before. It's almost like putting a straw in the Atlantic. That's why these feeder bands are just constantly feeding off the moisture from the Atlantic. And then that's why you're seeing such widespread rain coming from the east. What gets me is the amount of rain that's just coming in, pumped in. I can't remember the last time that I remember seeing a tropical storm or hurricane having this much effect this far inland and just like sitting there and just spinning around. And then the eastern part of North Carolina is where they've seen the most severe weather. A lot of tornado reports over there. So we'll take a look at futurecast through the morning hours. It'll take you from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Notice how it breaks up? That's that dry air I'm talking about.
A little bit down to the southeast around Cheraw and Rockingham. Then we see about 4 o'clock. The heaviest rain starts to move off to the north at that time. So you folks live in the foothills, a little bit heavy rainfall at that time. We spin that thing around. This is around 8 o'clock this evening. So, yeah, Charlotte sees a major break from that dry slot you're talking about. But you can see that counterclockwise circulation eventually moves off to the northeast. The other issue, some of these wind gusts, and we're getting winds gusting well over 35 to 40 miles an hour. They'll be throughout the day today. So we have the high winds, the heavy rain, all combined together to make it really a dangerous situation. Has not been pleasant out there. I just picked This is 11 a.m. this morning. Look over at areas around Monroe, over 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts there expected. Over towards Concord, about the same.
And with already 2 to 3 inches of rain and shallow-rooted trees, such as an oak tree, a lot of those are going to be toppling down. We've seen multiple roads that have been closed, a lot of power lines that have been down. So our impacts, not only flooding, but down trees with that. We're here in the Charlotte area. We see this all the time. If you get a good soaking, far less than what we just saw right now, trees will come down. I think you're only beginning to see the amount of trees and limbs that are going to come down from this system, even though the winds aren't hurricane or even a strong tropical storm force, but they're doing damage.
And they're not necessarily coming down today. They've been weakened. This could be for weeks ahead.
True.
This could happen. So let's take a look at the Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Weather aware today. Rain keeps those temperatures in the 70s. We could see a couple showers tonight, and wouldn't rule out the chance of a pop-up storm tomorrow with the heating of the day. Then the weekend looking pretty good. 89 on Saturday, Sunday. We are in the mid-80s. So finally some dry weather for the weekend, just in time.
Okay, now let's talk about the past. Don't live in the past, but the past is pretty much the present, because this is the amount of rain that has fallen since midnight. Now, note, we are recording this officially after 7:30, so it's 7:44 at the time of this. The next update of rain totals will be at 8 o'clock hour. We've already seen over an inch in Gastonia. A lot of times, this is rain that you'll see for the entirety of the day. We've only just begun to live, and we have
great song.
great song, not great weather. And then close to 3 inches around Wadesboro. So this is tremendous. This is crazy. So at 6 a.m., we had already broken the daily rainfall record for August 8th here in Charlotte, Larry.
That doesn't happen very often. We're at 6 a.m. in the morning, you break the record. Normally it takes all day to get that. So, yeah, that's almost 2 inches so far. We're going to add to that. I mean, it's going to rain all day, so we're going to get, now this is measured at the airport. That's the official gauge at the airport. So your neighborhood, your backyard gauge may say 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. That's going to happen.
And we definitely seen that. I would say the eastern side of Charlotte, where we're seeing the most roads that are pretty much underwater, they've seen a lot more than the actual airport. So that's a good note there. But also, I want to take it a step further. Not only is it going to be a record-breaking day, this is also going to be the wettest day of the year. If you remember, January 9th, we had a bunch of rain. There was even severe weather breakout that day. It was a wicked day. We're going to easily surpass that. I wouldn't even be surprised if the next update is going to be pretty close to that number. But I'm going to take it a step further. The wettest day in August history was August 26, 2008. This was also a tropical storm. It was Tropical Storm Faye that moved through. Faye actually came from the west, gave us a similar situation, just the opposite direction. It started to slow down before it picked back up. We saw a tremendous amount of rain from that other system. And then the other wettest days have been over 4 inches of rain. Not guaranteeing that we're going to see that, but this will go down in history as a record-breaking day for August 8th, the wettest day of 2024.
I do remember Tropical Storm Faye in 2008 coming through here, and that's one of those, that is the more typical tropical storm path coming from the Gulf of Mexico, or one of those storms that comes out of the Gulf of Mexico and comes our way. We don't often see this Atlantic-born tropical storm hurricane bring this much rain this far inland. Florence is one of those.
Yeah.
We do remember that. And I think Matthew is another.
And I don't like to use this name because everyone's heightened sentence, but if you think about it, from that southeast direction from Charleston, there's one storm that I won't even remember, begin with an H. It made that path. So it's been a while since we've even had
the difference was the major difference, and there's no similarity at all between Hurricane Hugo and this one. Hugo brought maybe 2 or 3 inches total of rain. That was a wind event.
Man, that's crazy. So that, as far as the rain events.
Rain was not a problem at all. It was wind. It was really multiple thousands of trees down and power outages. So we'd be thankful it's not that.
Thank you. And as far as the rain goes. But you were also mentioning earlier that you can't remember really the last time we've had a tropical system that's had this wide of an impact.
Yeah, I mean, just so much. And we've had, in fact, at the moment right now, we didn't mention this, but probably where you are, you could be under a flash flood warning. We just had that much rain. They've covered the total area today, and we'll probably see more of those issued throughout the day.
Rusty, actually, I do want to end on that note. I think I do have that graphic over on Weather One. Well, first off, August usually sees 4.35 inches during the entire month. Many of us are seeing that in one day today, so that really put that in perspective. But what Larry was mentioning was about these flash flood warnings. So I want to step further. Usually they're outlined in green. Anything outlined in orange is considered a considerable flash flood warning. How many of you, raise your hands, we can't see you, got a notification on their phone? It was scary sounding.
Both mine went crazy a minute ago.
The whole newsroom, everyone's like, oh no, what's going on? The emergency wireless alert system will only notify your phone when it's a considerable or a flash flood emergency. And speaking of, you were telling about this earlier, the worst flooding that we've seen in North Carolina is that flash flood emergency right there. That's the area of red.
Bladenboro, North Carolina, just south of Fayetteville. I read some information, 1 to 3 feet of water in some of the houses out there. So, yeah, we'll be here. There you go. We kind of zoomed in, show you real quickly. We got a lot to cover here today, but that's it right there, not too far from Lumberton. Yeah, we'll be here throughout the day. Of course, Brad and Brittany will be here, and KJ as we head through the afternoon. So you got to cover the whole team here. Weather Impact team will let you know what's going on. Have a nice day. Stay safe, and if you can, stay off the highways.